Derick Giwner back with Matt Rose here in 2021 to talk about the jackpot Hi-5 at Woodbine Mohawk Park on Saturday, March the 27th. There's a huge $260,000 plus carryover mandatory payout. Matt, what do you think about that?
Wow, you make it sound incredibly exciting, but you know what? It's a great event, and you don't have to build it up. People will flock to Woodbine Mohawk Park on Saturday night. Race office always does a great job assembling an overflow field. There's 11 horses, always a well grouped, evenly matched field. And listen, you can get 5 favorites in this thing, in order, and it's gonna be a decent payoff just because there's so much money floating around there in the pool. But yeah, without the 11 horse field, give out a couple of our tickets and try to make a little hit.
Well, as you said, 11 horses. We have 8 on this page. There'll be 3 more on the other. The morning line favorite up there is Evenwood, Son of a Gun. And that's a horse that I'm actually not using on the top of my ticket anywhere when you see it. And there's some reasons why I don't want the 3-1 morning line favorite. If you look at that last line, the horse, yes, rallied really nicely, closed from 9th to 2nd from the 3/4 home. But look at the half mile time there, 54 and change there, 54 and 2 for the half. He's supposed to rally off that kind of, those kind of fractions. He's supposed to be strong late. And the races before that weren't quite as good. Granted, slightly up in class, but not crazy high. And a 4th and a 5th, tired on the lead and, a little bit of a bad trip to start before that. I just don't know if this is the horse I want to put my eggs on top of, or the eggs in my basket of, at
your eggs
possibly.
Of. So who are you going with, Derick? Let's hear it.
Well, I looked at there's 2 horses in this race that I think look most interesting for me, and that's the 4 Legion Sealster and the 6 East End. These are the 2 big class droppers. They're coming out of the preferred handicap versus Sintra, who we all know is one of the top open horses for the last few years. So it was between those 2. They're 7-2 and 4-1 on the morning line. I leaned towards going with Legion Sealster, and there are a few reasons why. First, this is just the horse's 4th start back from a long layoff where he hadn't raced since July, so you would figure that maybe he's still getting into form. The second thing is, this is the horse that's dropping in for a $30,000 claiming tag. So they're putting this horse up for sale for $30,000. And I got to assume when you have the top trainer at the track and Richard Moreau putting a horse in for a tag, he's sending this horse to the track ready, figuring that there's a reasonable chance he's going to get claimed.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. The fact that he drops in for a tag, I think it's just a situation where leading connections, top trainer knows how to classify his horse, not afraid to lose him, dropping him into the right spot. Like you said, there was only 4th start back after a long layoff. You mentioned morning line favorites, and you're talking about the reason you don't like the 7. You like the 4 Legion Sealster on top. I have a feeling that he's probably going to be the favorite in this race for all the reasons that you pointed out. 4th start back, top connections, dropping in class, dropping in for a tag where they know they risk losing the horse, which is usually an indication that they're going to be 200% ready to go. So I have a feeling this is the guy that most bettors are going to focus in on, and may end up going off the favorites. With that said, I'm going to use him all over my ticket, but I'm not going to use him in the top spot. I'm going to try to key him in the 2nd spot and hope that he gets run over by somebody. So I'm actually using 3 horses on top with him in the 2nd spot, going with the aforementioned 7 horse, Evenwood, Son of a Gun. I'm also going to throw the 1 and the 2 in Outlaw Ace of Spades, Ideal Perception. I kind of like the good form, sharp horse moving up angle. I think either one of those 2 will be able to handle the class hike and be able to be competitive here and work out some sort of a decent trip and hopefully not get buried in the early stages. And I'm going to key in on Legion Sealster in the 2nd spot, and then spread around the 3rd, 4th, and 5th spots like everybody else is going to do. So it's a reasonably priced ticket, but cheaper than yours, I think. So we're kind of on the same page here. You're going to go with Legion Sealster on top. I'm putting him in the 2nd spot. Quickly, who else you got underneath?
Well, I was looking at two of the horses you just mentioned there, Outlawed Ace of Spades and Ideal Perception. I think these are, yes, they're moving up in class, but they're both sharp. They both have early speed. It's a bulky field, so they should be close to the pace, which is something I like in these races. Another horse I'm using is the 10 Mongolian Hero N, who, quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of betting horses from the second tier, but this horse should get away in reasonably good order behind the 1 and the 2, who both have early speed, and there's a little bit of class to this horse, and if the trip works out reasonably well, he should be somewhere close to the pace, I think.
Yeah, he does have some sort of there is a get buried factor without a doubt, depending on how he gets off the wings of the gate, and how one of the two push off, and Louis Philippe might have to angle over early to avoid getting trapped in. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, he's another class dropper. Definitely playable. I didn't use him except for in the fifth spot. Personally, I've just never been a really big fan of this horse. I've never had any luck with him. I don't want to use that as a reason for others not to use him. But for reasons I stated earlier, you think he might be okay from that spot. I'm a little concerned that he's just going to be buried. Especially you have to assume there's going to be some outside speed and outside levers also. So I have him only in the fifth spot only because I use an all. And to be honest, I didn't even want to use an all because that's just, that's the common thing. But what it does is, it significantly increases ticket prices. I have a reasonably priced ticket. I think it's like 37.80 for 20 cents. But I'm semi-precise in the first three spots. 3 by 1 by 4 by 5 with an all for fifth. But yeah, I'm keying in on Legion Sealster, second spot with 1, 2, 7 on top. And we're going to throw the 3 better be going in the third spots. Use those horses in the fourth spot with an all for fifth. So how did you see it with the 1, 2, and 7 underneath? How else did you spread in the fourth or fifth legs?
Why don't we put my ticket up on the screen and people can see it? And I started off with the 4 Legion Sealster, as I mentioned. I used the 1, 2, and 6, which is basically the class dropper East End and the 2 sharp horses on the inside of the gate. And we spread it out a little bit to add Mongolia Hero in to the third spot, and hopefully he works out a reasonable trip. Then we added a couple more. Obviously, we already talked about Evenwood Son of a Gun. Listen, a lot of people are going to have this horse higher in the ticket, I think, and I'm going to take a shot that, he just doesn't get involved, in this race. And also the 3 better be going just looks like in the right spot. This is not a kind of horse that is going to win a ton of races at this level, but I think it's the kind of horse that could hit the ticket, at this kind of condition. Now one is a 12,000. And then we go with the customary all to create a $50.40 ticket, which quite frankly, I think is a reasonable amount of money to spend into a $262,000 mandatory payout pool. That's probably going to be, $750,000, $1 million when all the money's counted.
Okay, well, so you're putting up $50 with a horse that figures to be around 2 to 1 or something like that. So I guess in theory, you're giving up, you're taking a shot instead of getting 2 to 1 odds on your top choice to take a stab for $50 and get 100 to 1 on your bet. That would be nice. We could take a look at my ticket, which is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think one of the key things, Matt, that you were trying to say there, and at least one of the key things for me before you talk about your ticket, is the fact that I'm not putting the 7 in the second or third spot. That's kind of my way of getting the value out of taking the favorite, potentially the favorite, maybe, in the top spot.
All right. Well, as you can see with my more reasonably priced ticket, I'm using the 1, 2, and 7, including even when Son of a Gun, who I think will probably be second choice. Keying in on Legion Sealster. There's where my value kind of comes from. Put the favorite in the second spot. Spread out a little bit using the other preferred handicap class dropper East End. Throwing better be going in the fourth spot, and I used an all in the last leg. To be honest, I didn't want to, but because my ticket is a little more precise in the first 4 spots, figure I could afford to spread in the fifth spot with an all in a race where how can you handicap for fifth? That's always been the argument, for using an all in these types of bets. But it's more reasonably priced, $37.80, and like I said, the way I'm looking for value is Legion Sealster in the second spot when a lot of others are going to be keying in on a horse, I think, in the top spot.
Well, it makes sense to me. We have like I said, $262,454 is the mandatory payout amount. The date is Saturday, March the 27th. We have free PPs. At least we will have free PPs up on DRF.com. So those harness side PPs, you can check them out, do some handicapping. Garnett Barnsdale has his full card analysis, so you can check that out as well. Maybe help you along. It's race number 11 on Saturday night. Good luck.